one too. I can sing harmony. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hi. Welcome to the Athenaeum at Amityville Apothecary. I'm your co-owner, Dina Rosenberg. Danielle will be coming in momentarily, ringing the bells, but she is voiceless today because we are here at the Haunted Harvest. We've been going all day, and she has been talking to a lot of people. I have not been talking to as many people, but I have been doing a lot of direct today. Come on in. That's okay. Have a seat. We have seats here. So we are so excited to welcome Amy Blackthorn come on in. No, it's okay. To the shop today. No big deal. Just a few. There's one more that I have to find. Maybe I'll step out and because we got a mountain of boxes. So there's one new book that Amy will also tell you about it. We have it in here somewhere. No big deal. Is this almost everything?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, there's one more.
The new one.
The new one.
So this is everything but the new one. Okay? So Amy is the author of Blackthorn's Botanical Brews, Blackthorn's Protection Magic, which pay attention because we're going to be talking about a lot of protections today. Sacred Smoke, Blackthorn's Botanical Magic.
Just a few.
Sacred Plant Magic, the second newest one. See how I know these things? And Blackthorn's Botanical Wellness. We are so excited to have her here. It's like this volume of work is insane. Protection magic and working with the plant spirits and the plants of our earth are intertwined so importantly. We're so excited to have you.
Yay! Woo!
I don't have a voice. I said like you've been like doing a lot of talking today. Your voiceless.
Enjoy, guys. Amy's the best. We're happy she's here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
So, as you mentioned, we're going to talk about protection magic. So, would you like to be my lovely assistant?
Yes.
I need a lovely assistant for the beginning portion of.
Oh my God, what are we doing?
This is my favorite talk.
Okay, I'm excited. I don't know lower this. That's it. I'm in trouble now. It's not even bondage tape, by the way.
This is real duct tape.
Yeah.
I need you to tie me up.
Oh, I'm tying you up.
Yes. You have beautiful bracelets, and we're not gonna.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, this is
tape.
gorilla tape. This is gorilla tape. This is nasty.
But your hair though. Okay. This is
tight.
oh
We're-
God.
we're-
I've never kidnapped anybody.
What kind of program is this?
Time to practice.
So
Who's next? Am I using my teeth to cut this? Because this is what I
this is the holy whoa tape.
Do you
Okay.
want scissors? Do we have
You can rip it. There's
I have
scissors.
scissors in my
Go for
bag.
it.
Oh, wait.
There we
Come
go.
on.
Okay.
I know she got
So make sure it's tight.
It's tight. I feel like you're gonna get a little blue in the
Okay.
hands. No
Can
offense.
you make sure that that's real tape?
No, that's rotating.
That's real tape.
Stays on.
Okay. The most important part about Blackthorn's protection magic and talking about our own personal protection is that I can stand up here all day and talk about protection, about self-defense, about warding, but if you don't believe that you are worth rescuing, worth saving, worth protecting yourself, I might as well go home. Okay? You have to believe it. That's why I'm here. So, in many cases, people see duct tape, whether they wake up in a scary place or somebody tries to steal them and they are now bound in duct tape. They see this scary tape. Can you pass that around for me? They see this and they think it's some impenetrable, oh my God, you pull, you can pull real hard, this is not moving. And they give up. What are we not going to do? Not ever.
Give up.
Give up. Okay? So, because this is real tape, I want to make sure that you leave here with at least one thing, is how to get out of duct tape. Okay? what I want you to do is raise your hands up as far as you can, and we're going to bring them down hard and fast over your hips. Yes. Okay. You can push with your fingertips, you can push with your hands, but you just bring it up as far as you can reach and bring it down as hard and fast as you can over your hips, like you're hitting the wall behind you with your elbows.
Oh, I did it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes.
I hope I shaved my off. Maybe I didn't.
It's okay. We don't judge.
2024.
That's right. So show me what it looks like.
Okay.
Go. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So does that look like it's gonna work?
I don't know.
She's pretty badass. Look.
We're gonna go for
We're
it.
gonna go. This is gonna happen. Okay.
Okay. Oh my God.
So it happens. I still have the hair on my
Like,
wrist.
but no, look at how tight that was, by the way. She has lines.
So yeah, you'll see lines for a couple minutes. I'm not bruised, I'm not bleeding, and I'm not in someone's trunk. Okay? Everything has a way out. You just have to stay calm and breathe long enough to figure out what that is. So we're going to talk about ways to do that today. Magic is agency. The whole point in being here and reading books and buying all the fabulous, beautiful things next door, magic is agency. It's the ability to say, this isn't working for me. I'm not feeling the vibe. I'm going to change it. And this is will. When we talk about the will and fire of our spirit, it lives deep in your belly. And it says, eat, sleep, take care of yourself, fight when you need to. All of your survival comes from that belly. So if you don't believe it, right here in your belly, it's hard to believe it up here, and it's hard to believe it out here. Because there's so many different things out there. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. There's so many ways to handle danger. Not all of them are the best one. Not all of them are in your best interest. So remembering, first and foremost, where you come from, where your belly is going to take you as far as it can. Really important. People say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and it'll be great, and it'll be amazing, and I can do this." You can do this. But please remember that we fall to the lowest level of our training. We don't rise and overcome. Our muscles can, but unless we know what to tell them to do, we're going to fall to that lowest level of training. So just by being here, you're ahead of the curve.
Yes.
So, first thing I like to talk about is some visual aids, some toys to have on hand. So, this bracelet, thank you, I have on me at all times, every day, everywhere, forever and ever, amen. This is probably my third one I've gone through because I do wear it all day, every day. It's just a piece of elastic. Great, looks like a rubber band, looks like a little bracelet. Nobody gives it a second look. Guess what it is? This is an escape tool. It's a very, very handy escape tool. Costs you about 20 bucks. We have two items on here. It's a little harder to see on the camera, but we have two sides of this. One end is a tungsten bead. It looks like the striker from a Zippo. Okay? Little tungsten bead will shatter a glass window. So somebody tries to steal you, you can shatter the sides and rear windows of a car with this fabulous little bead. The second bead at the very top here, this is a handcuff key.
Whoa.
So if someone tries to steal you,
We need to sell these.
you should.
How do we get these?
Battlebox.com, B-A-T-T-L, no E,
Okay.
B-O-X.com.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Look at that.
All right.
Battlebox.com. I don't get kickbacks from these people. They recently made a change to it because I said, hey, this needs some work, and they said, you know what? It does. Here you go. The old version, the key used to pop off, so you could take it off, utilize it, put it back on your bracelet, and go. But I was wearing one, and I brushed up against my jeans, and the key popped right off. I'm like, nope, this doesn't work. Let's make it better. I'm gonna pass this around. So that is a handcuff key. I usually carry a pair of handcuffs so you can see that it opens the locks. I wanted to make sure that I was legal in New York.
You get pulled over, like, what's going on?
Well, you see, what had happened was, so Very handy. It's just an elastic bracelet. You can adjust it to whatever size is comfortable for you to wear. But it's an escape tool that gives you a little bit of feeling of safety and security. If someone tries to take you, then you're going to find your way out. Okay. The second one, because I'm spending the night up here, I always make sure I have this in my suitcase. This is a portable door lock. It's one piece, two little bits connected by a metal chain. This is aluminum. What you do is you have two sides. One is a commercial side and one's a residential side. You place this in the door jamb and close the door. The red part goes into the lock to keep the door closed. So even if someone has a key to that door, you're not opening it from the outside. Okay? So if you have a dorm room, if you have kids in college, if you have a creepy landlord who's like, oh, I'm going to come by and visit without telling you, please look at these. They're usually $15, $14. Super handy to have. They come with a little drawstring bag, but I make sure I have these in all of my suitcases. That way, there's videos online of people sneaking into hotel rooms. No thank you. We're not doing that. Very handy to have. And again, steel and aluminum. It fits very tightly in between the door, and you don't have to worry about someone coming in unannounced. I swear I heard someone knock. So what we're talking about today is not just magical self-defense. We're also talking about the real aspects of what happens when someone comes into your life and says, maybe not. So I work with plant spirits. As you can tell, the vast array of books in front of me. About 10 years ago, I was the head of security for 2 high-rises in Wilmington, Delaware. 35 floors of people were my personal responsibility. The first day on the job, I wasn't even on the floor yet. I was not a person. I was in training.
I'm coming to listen.
Yay!
Hello.
Hello! So, 35 floors of people were my personal responsibility. So I was not eating, I was not sleeping, I was not getting to go to magic. I was head of security. I was security Amy all the time. So, thank you so much. I'm going to put that back on before I lose it. Can't lose it if it's attached to a person. So, it's the full moon. I'm going outside and I am visiting the plant spirits around the house. I am pouring for the full moon. I am making sure that everybody has what they need. Drumming and really enjoying the space and make sure everybody has what they need. So I come out the front door and I find the littlest lobelia inflata you ever saw in your life. It's also called pukeweed or pukewort. It brings air into situations. Like, okay, what is this beautiful little plant telling me? I should ponder that as I continue my journey. So I go around the back side of the house. I'm pouring and drumming and talking and making sure everybody's got what they need. And I come around the back side of the house and there is a stand, which means more than one, it's a multiple pieces, of poke. How many people know what poke is? Hey, high five! Poke is a giant walking red flag. It is purple, like magenta purple, and green. It has poisonous berries attached to it. Everyone's mother hollers, don't eat that, you'll die! Okay, so it's poisonous. If it has poison, it can protect itself, right? If it can protect itself, it can protect you. It's in the backyard, so what is behind me that I can't see that I need protection from? So I have to start going through my life. Go through the little index card, go through the little video playing in my brain of every day, where I go, what I do, and how I get there. And I think back to the very first day at 1313. That's really the address. You know what? There was something that happened. And so I'm replaying that little video. The very first day, not on the floor yet, just in training, we had a bomb threat, a death threat, and a suspicious package. This is a serious business. This was a high traffic area. It was the most expensive real estate in the state of Delaware. Okay. I went through my daily life and discovered that I had a stalker. This was a very dangerous person who had just done 12 years for unspeakable acts. and had decided that I was the new cool thing. I firmly believe that if I had not been able to listen to Poke, stop and take a moment to understand what's happening, to really dig into my life, to say, okay, what are you trying to tell me? I don't think I'd be here today. This was life and death, and I'm very lucky to still be here. It's not just making sure you check your back seat to see if there's anybody waiting for you. It's developing a regular practice where you stop and look at the places around you. You can talk to the plants around you if you'd like, if you're so inclined to work with plants, but it's really about stopping to take a look at your space and what does your space say to you. If you drive up to a house with a holly tree planted in the front corner, great. Holly will protect your house from lightning, magically speaking. Holly is a very smooth, featureless wood. It grows up real tall, real quick, so okay, that can attract the lightning. It can ward off, keep the house safe. You know what else holly does? Holly's really prickly, so no one's going to hide behind your holly tree waiting for you in the bushes. So all of the things that we talk about for protection magic can also protect you physically as well as magically. It's super important to make sure that you are giving yourself as many tools as you can to make sure that you're going to stay as safe as possible. That's why I will ward my hotel room, but I'm also going to use the door lock. We are still using reasonable methods that any intelligent person would say, okay, let's go do the thing as best we can. When we talk about protection magic, we're looking at our house, we're looking at the doors. You can ward the doors. What's a ward? Does anybody know? This is audience participation time. Yes! What's a ward?
Some sort of like magic to keep something out or away.
Yes, a magical boundary. Boundaries are our best friends. Boundaries are amazing. So putting them in place magically as well as personally is a great way to say, okay, how can we make sure that things are where they're supposed to be? So if you meet someone at a party, hi, my name's Amy. Isabella, nice to meet you. Fantastic. Isabella, thanks. Great eyeshadow, your whole eye makeup. Perfect. Oh. So if we meet tomorrow, I might remember Isabella's fabulous eye makeup. I might remember Isabella's name. But if it's been 2 years, I'm sorry to say I might not remember it. We learn about each other every interaction that we have. I just learned Isabella's name, and that this fabulousness of makeup. Tomorrow I might learn their favorite color, their favorite food, favorite song. We're learning little bits about each other every time we meet. Just like the spirits we hope to work with in Sacred Plant Magic. Each one of these things that we're doing, we're building a network of family, of responsible people. Even if they're people without bodies, plant spirits. We're building that network every single day by reaching out and connecting to people outside of ourselves. So the friends network that you've built throughout your lifetime, the people who really mean something to you, are part of your security net. If your neighbor sees someone lurking in the bushes and they can't stand you, are they going to call and tell you, hey, there's a creepy person in your bushes, you should probably call the police? Probably not. So building our communities, building our community support structures is a great place to start, making sure that your home and your person are as safe as you can be. It was 6 months ago, not even, I got a phone call from my neighbor. Oh, hey, you're usually at work this time of day. Are you okay? She says, there's a guy outside your house. He's been there with the engine running for about 3 hours. Do you know who this person is? Why, no. No, I don't. Thank you for telling me. Thanks for calling. He never did come to the door. We found out later what was happening. It wasn't involving me at all. It was a stakeout for the house down the street.
Oh, jeez.
I looked up the plates They didn't match the car. I'm like, oh, that's either a police stakeout or a bad idea. One of those things is probably none of my business. It was super important that my neighbor reached out to me and said, hey, something's going on. Something you should probably pay attention to. So building that network is a great place to start. So we're looking at the outside of your house. Oh, I just happened to notice that the locks on your front door are a little old, they're a little beat up. Have you thought about replacing them? I'm sure you have. 75% of all new home construction uses quick set locks. Quick with a K, quick set locks. Which means this is the locks that everybody practices on when they want to learn how to pick locks. Because they're the most readily available, they're the cheapest, not cheapest, but they're pretty darn cheap on the market. And since everybody uses them, that is a golden key to getting in those places, in those spaces. So, I do not recommend putting them on your house because they're the first one that everybody learns to pick with. So, Schlage or Medico are probably the ones I would recommend above that. They know they're being picked, they have tighter controls, so it's a little harder to pick. They're a little more secure. So I would look at the locks on the outside of your home and say, hey, whether it's the front door, if you have the opportunity, if you have the ability to change those locks, definitely look into it. So we've now reinforced our door. So the first thing that people see is that please knock sign that you put on the door with a brand new deadbolt. How do we protect the outside of that door additionally? We're going to ward that door. Okay, we already decided that wards are magical boundaries. If I go back to Isabel and I say, hey, can I borrow $50? And they're like, excuse me, oh, we just met strange person. No, I don't lend money to people I don't know. That's a boundary. That's a great thing. They're like, okay, I'm not going to give you money. Very, very well stated. Reasonable. But this is not, get away from me, you creep. They're looking for a way to continue to engage with me without leaving themselves open for vulnerability. So they're saying, hey, this is a boundary, we're going to keep this in place. So how do we do that for our front door? Any ideas? There's plenty of magical ways to do this. Chimes, ooh! How do you want to employ that at your front door? Yeah, great. So if we put a wind chime at the front door, the ringing will disperse any negative energy and keep it from coming into the house. Great idea. Anybody else? Yes. Oh, black salt. Yes. High five. High five. Black salt. Yes. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say if you were to like put a spell or something on it.
Yeah.
Because you were saying a boundary is like peaceful still, to not have it be like a return to sender type of thing and just like a wall.
Yeah.
That's not shooting negativity back at them if they didn't like mean to send it out.
Absolutely.
Does that
That's
make sense?
definitely something you can do. Anybody else?
I've put salt under the welcome mat already. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Salt on the welcome mat is great. Table salt, black salt. There are a million kinds of salt in the world. If you want to take a class on salt, Mortellus has an amazing class on salt. I just saw the bones fall in a spiral book on the shelf. So it's fantastic, and you can double support for your local community. So we can put salt under the mat. We can put wind chimes out front. We can spell the door to repel the negativity but not send it back. Where would we tell it to go? Where would we tell that negativity? If once it hits the door, where is it going to go?
Back to sender.
Okay. Anything else? We can send it down to the ground. We can send it down to the ground off of the property, so we're not polluting our own soil. Anything else? So, we've got our front door. How do we put that spell? We can purify it first to make sure that we're not sealing anything that we don't want. So we can smoke cleanse. We can cleanse it with water. We can cleanse it with magic oils in the very back of the shop next door. We can anoint the four corners of the door to be a nice magical barrier. So once something hits that door. We want it to slide off and go down the street. We want to send it back where it came from. The great part about utilizing magic to protect your home is that you're the one responsible for what happens. So, if somebody has been messing with you and you've gone from, okay, so water up the duck's back, this is great. We're gonna send that down the street into the ground. The earth can handle it better than I can. But they just keep coming. You can escalate that if needed. You're the one responsible for where you're going. The really important part in that is sitting down. I like a journal and a pen because I'm an author. Please don't feel like you have to do that if journaling is either A, dangerous for you because you're still in the broom closet, or B, you think better in pictures in your head rather than pen on a piece of paper. I just want you to look at your own ethical structure. Before we dive into the book, before you say, okay, what do we want to do? We need to talk about our ethics because we have to figure out what we're going to do with this magic when it goes into effect. Okay, so we can send it down to the earth, we can send it back to sender. Someone suggested in another class, a rainbow bubble around the house and then send it back off into space. Great. As long as you understand where your ethical stand is, that's what's important. So sit down with a journal, sit down and ask yourself a couple questions. If someone walked up to you in the middle of the street here and went to punch you in the face, what are you comfortable doing about that? Anybody?
Block.
Block. You can duck. You can leave. You can block yourself from being punched in the face. Anybody else?
I might punch back.
I would definitely punch back. That's just me though. By understanding where your ethical lines are, we're going to start in the physical, but understanding where those boundaries are is going to be the most important thing that you can offer your future self. If I say, I'm going to punch him back in the face, there may be consequences to those feelings. You could punch them back in the face and the police could have only seen you punch someone in the face and now you're in trouble. They could be a hemophiliac and just bleed everywhere. There's always a theoretical possibility of having an issue. So we really have to look at all those sides. By looking at our ethical structure before we do that, you're going to feel more comfortable and more empowered to take those steps down the line. So I had decided already how I felt about my stalker issue. If the guy shows up at my house, handle it. But if he doesn't, if this is just a voyeurism thing, what are my responsibilities to myself and to others? Those lines are always going to be different. Every single person in here is going to have a different ethical line, and that's okay. Our ethics are formed by our culture, our family structure, our region, our state, even in some cases our biome. If someone is causing an issue down the street, your neighbor, okay, that may be an issue for the whole neighborhood. But if you live in a community structure where every single life is dependent on the person next to you and the person next to them, that's definitely going to change things, isn't it? If someone is hoarding water, if they're stealing food, that could potentially impact someone in their entire life. As a magical practitioner, our tradition works with magical ailments. And so we have clients that come in and say, oh, I think I've been cursed, I need help, would you please help me? The most potent curses we see are family line curses going back generations, where two neighbors living next door to each other say, hey, you know what, let's go in and raise a pig together, and then when it comes time to call the pig, we'll just split whatever's left, and everybody will be happy. You get half a pig, I get half a pig, we each have half of the work, fantastic. One neighbor steals from the other neighbor and someone dies. Starvation is a real threat in the world, both in the past and now. So those curses linger through the generations. So the best way to prevent your family from being harmed, just to make sure that you're doing as best you can. Okay? So, we built in those boundaries. We've decided what? Are we going to send it down into the earth? Send it out into space? Are we going to send it, return to sender?
Return to sender.
Return to sender. Fantastic. We've got our door. We've anointed it. We've put up our chimes to keep anything nasty from lingering. We want to keep that energy stirred up. You could put a mirror filter on your front door. So anybody throws anything at your front door, guess where it's going to land? Smack in their face balls. Or you can place a mirror dome around the whole building. Whether that's an individual family home or trying to keep as many people who live in the building safe as possible, great. We're really trying to make sure that enough people who live in this building are as safe as possible, because our neighbors are part of our community. If I live in 3A and there's a fire in 3B, do you think I'm getting out of this okay? It's a little bit more dicey. They're a lot closer. If someone's on the top floor and I'm on the bottom floor, like, I can get out, that's fine. But I'm definitely going to have water damage. So keeping the whole building safe is probably the best option for everyone. We're not putting any specific filters on it. We're just trying to keep it as light and airy as possible. So do we only ward the door, or do we ward the whole building? The whole building. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. We've got our wind chimes. We've got our oiled, anointed door. How are we going to protect this whole building? What do we think? Buildings are pretty sizable. I mean, even the building we're standing in, I wouldn't want to have to crawl around on my hands and knees. It's decently big. So how are we going to protect a whole building?
The land. Surrounding areas.
Absolutely. Reach down into the land. Whether that means you find some stones to anchor that warding to, that's definitely always my first thing to reach for, because it's very handy to be able to take your stones and bless them out under the moonlight. But stones are, in some cases, millions of years old. Do you think that one little wish is going to deplete the energy of lapis lazuli? Probably not. So you could take something grounding and stabilizing to make sure that anything that you don't want in this building, negativity, hatred, anger, gets right into the ground outside of your perimeter, so it's not coming in. You might take a particular stone. Anybody have any stones in mind?
Hematite?
Hematite, yeah! Iron ore, any of the iron ores. I opened right to chapter 6. Those of you playing the home game, chapter 6 is the physical defense portion of this book. This is how to escape rope, zip ties, duct tape, chains, stalkers, someone's following you home from work, someone, you get lost in the woods. Like, this is what to have on you, this is how to get home safe. But there is a stone chapter. So we said hematite. Hematite's an iron ore. So it's going to be very grounding. Like someone just thumped you in the chest and I'm now on the ground, grounding. Okay? So it will take anything that's nasty and it will ground right into the actual earth. What other stones?
Obsidian.
Obsidian, yeah! Tell me about obsidian.
That's volcanic glass.
Yes, it's a volcanic glass. Do you have any idea the power that it takes to make a volcano? It's a lot. So, you can take that obsidian, place it in the four corners of the building, or as close to the four corners as your building has, and ground that. You could also do something like pyrite. So you have the prosperity angle. You're trying to make sure that all of your neighbors have everything they need. Pyrite naturally forms in cubes, which are a stable shape. Cubes are great for grounding and stabilizing the energy out of space. So if you put 4 small pyrite cubes in the 4 corners of that property, guess what's going to happen? Not only is any negativity grounded, because it's a great protection stone, but it's also associated with prosperity. So we're adding a stabilizing element, we're adding prosperity, and we're making sure that protection is the top of the list for the stones that we're working with. What I don't want to see is something like selenite on the outside of the house. Anybody remember why? Story time. So, I worked at a shop called Mystical Voyage in, we'll say 2006. And a lovely, lovely woman came in. I had recognized her from the day before. Week before, she had just been in. Very sweet. She said, "Oh my God, I love these selenite candle holders. I'm gonna take them home. I'm gonna build an altar around these candle holders. They're gorgeous. I'm gonna love it and have it forever." And a week later, she's back. Well, you've been in here. It's an amazing shop, but the funny thing about stores is that they exist for people to buy things. So she goes to grab her Natalie Meraki mood deck and realizes there are no more left. She says, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I can find those selenite candle holders that I got last week? I said, "Oh, absolutely. They're right here. $50. And she says, "Thank you so much. It was really important to me. I love those candle holders, but the fairies took them and I wanted to replace them." Pumpkin, you want to explain that to me one more time? The what happened? Yes, the fairies took my candle holders, so I wanted to replace them. What does that look like? They were dirty, so she put them in the dishwasher.
Oh no.
That's the face. Selenite dissolves in water. Selenite is a 1 on the Mohs hardness scale. It is a salt. It dissolves in water. So this dear sweet human was worried that she had fairies running rampant in her home and stole candle holders, and I had to tell her she dissolved $50 worth of selenite in the dishwasher. Sorry about your luck. So I don't want to see any stones that may dissolve in water on the outside of the house. How many people have drywall in their house? I do. If you don't have lath and plaster, it's not wood paneling, you probably have some drywall in your house. Guess what? Selenite is gypsum. Gypsum is what makes up drywall. So when we talk about sheetrock as drywall, the rock is actually selenite. So people have been grinding up selenite. Please don't do that. Respirators, masks, safety gear, PPE is important. They have been grinding up selenite and putting it in paint to paint on the walls to protect their house. The walls that are already made of selenite. So keep an eye on your building materials. Learning the ins and outs of your house can save you some money. So we've protected the outside of the building. We've got pyrite, we've got obsidian, we have hematite. The great thing about this is just because we have 4 corners of a house, so to speak, we have a little rectangle, we can put those 4 corners, but the rectangle that makes up the floor plan is not the only shape that you have available to you. We can draw a circle around the house in hematite. We can put the 4 spaces of 4 cubes of pyrite at the 4 corners here. We can make a ring of smaller stones, maybe tumbled rose quartz, to bring love into the building and let people feel whole and safe in their home. Perfect, beautiful. So you're not limited to the exterior of the space the building that has. By layering geometric shapes on top of each other, you're making it more and more complicated, which is fantastic, because you are my best friend, and I love you sincerely and dearly. We've known each other since we were 3 years old, and I gave you my last cookie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, if I tell her every single thing that I do in my home protection, my wording system, my magical transgressions, the way that I have the list of checklists that I use to go through every full moon when I re-establish wards, if we ever, God forbid, had a fight, they now know every single thing that I use to protect my house, so they can take that apart piece by piece. So, the people that you love, we love, forever and ever and always. But it's okay to keep some things close to the vest. Has anybody heard of the witch's pyramid? No? Maybe. One maybe. Okay.
I don't know if it's a pyramid. I was thinking more like a square thing.
So the witch's pyramid is to know,
To know, yes.
to will,
To dare, and keep silence.
and keep silent. So that's 4. It is a square, but it's on the
Okay.
pyramid. So you were right track. So there's that little piece of the keep silent part that says, for your safety, for the safety of whoever lives in this building, maybe don't tell all your secrets to one person. It's okay to keep some things for yourself. Boundaries are healthy, and we love a good boundary. If you want to keep people in your life, healthy boundaries are important. Because, anyone know? Boundaries without empathy are cruel. Empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. Okay? You have to keep some boundaries for yourself in order to keep the people that you want in your life. Otherwise, you'll just destroy yourself. So, warding is really an act of love. You want to keep the people you want happy, safe, protected, and loved, and the people who don't deserve that, a little safer distance. Okay? So, we've got the outside with our pyrite. We've got a ring of little teeny tumbled hematites. What about individual rooms? Do the individual rooms need protection? Because they're in a bubble, in a square, in maybe a smaller square. Are we getting too nitpicky? I really don't think so. You can absolutely do that, especially when you want to have space from your partner, space from your siblings, space from your children. Everybody needs healthy boundaries. So I shared a bedroom with my older sister Holly for a million years. We were both Virgos. I have a Leo moon and she has a Scorpio moon. There was blood drawn. I'm just right up front. So establishing great boundaries within a home is a great idea, especially if you have small children, and especially if those small children are of an age where they're like, oh my God, monsters are going to get me. By giving them the stones to place around their room to protect and build their own protection warding, you're giving them the agency, magic word, giving them the agency to protect themselves from the monsters rather than saying, Mommy, fix it. We're teaching them that things can be handled. They can be fixed, they can be managed, and even if you're small, you can still make a difference. Those are such important lessons that they cannot be smaller. There's no age too small to start teaching them that monsters can be defeated. Agency is everything. I want my imaginary, I don't have any small people, I want my imaginary children to be able to come to me and say, hey, I'm scared of this thing. What can we do about this? Because if they can do it for the monster in the closet, they can do it for the bully at school or the priest at church. Okay? So, I want to talk about one of the more important aspects of our own personal security. Inside our house, we've got our individual rooms. Everyone's picked their own flavor. Once you go inside, you don't have to worry about what stones will melt and what stones won't. Everybody's set their own energetic space. What happens when you go outside? If I'm walking down the street, and we go back to our original example, if somebody comes to punch me in the face, you have options. We have, this is called the Cooper's Color Code of Situational Awareness. One of the best things you can do in making sure that you're keeping yourself safe is be aware of your situation, your surroundings. So, magic phone. If I am walking down the street, head in my phone, not making eye contact, I can trip over a rock or a root or the sidewalk because I am just that talented. Somebody comes to punch me in the face, I've got my head in my phone. I'm not going to know that until they actually have a fist in my nose to notice what's happening. This is no bueno. We want to make sure that you're paying attention as best you can. We don't want to trip over into hypervigilance, because that's exhausting. That wastes all your batteries. But I'm walking down the street, I'm noticing there are people moving around. Oh, that guy's got cotton candy. It's stuck to the end of his nose. I don't think he knows that yet. Excuse me, sir. You have some. Good job. You got it. Great. This is the yellow level. I'm just paying attention to what's going on around me. I'm making eye contact if that's comfortable. I'm noticing what's going on around me. Perfect. This is where we want to live. Then, if I look up and see someone's got a fist they want to come at my face, I've noticed them a little further back. I've given myself some options, some space to move around. Okay? If we see somebody very intently trying to make eye contact and stomping towards me, with a fist balled up, okay, I understand that there could be some physical danger present. I've got to make a plan. So I start going through the little Rolodex in my brain of stuff that I can do. Well, if he comes up to punch me, I can duck. I can back away. I can just punch him right back. I've got a plan for every eventuality I can come up with. Are you going to be able to do that for every single situation? No. It's not reasonable to expect that of yourself or of anyone else. That's okay. By going through your Rolodex and preparing yourself for different scenarios, you're not anticipating everything that's going to happen. You're reminding yourself that you have the ability to react. You're keeping yourself engaged. You are making sure that you have a plan if something happens. If it's now past 2 blocks and he's this close and he's still got his fist balled up, I now have to implement one of my plans. So that bumps us up into condition red. So we started at white, went to yellow, got to orange, and now we're at red. This is the panic zone. Okay. Take some deep breaths, not panicking, establishing and executing our plan. So someone would come up, they get this far. Do I have to let them hit me for me to employ my self-defense protocol? Absolutely not. Not now, not ever. Don't feel like you have to be the victim of a crime before you establish your own bodily autonomy. No, thank you. So, once he has, at least in the state of Delaware, I'm not sure about New York, once he has balled up his fist, made eye contact, and made like he's going to hit me, I can now act in my own self-defense and say, hey, pop you in the nose. Don't do that. It's not kind. Go talk to your mother about kindness. I can implement my plan. Magically speaking, someone says, I'm going to hex you. Do I have to wait for them to do it? No. They have stated their intent. Whether they mean it or not is irrelevant at this particular juncture. Because most curses, people say, oh, I'm gonna curse you. Most of them have neither the time, the energy, or the know-how to make their way out of a paper bag. And that's okay. Let them worry about themselves. That level of reaction deserves what magic? Again, we're going back to our own ethics, so there's no wrong answers here. Yeah. The best way to brush off that very low level threat is to laugh in their face. Laughter is sound, so those sound vibrations work just like our wind chime, disrupting the energy, breaking it apart, washing it so it doesn't get to go out into the world. Can that escalate the problem? Oh yeah, totally. It could also not. So we step it up. We went from condition white where we didn't know anything was happening and someone could throw a curse at you. Oh, that's a weird word. Curse. So we have curses, jinxes, and hexes. They are 3 separate things. They get used in the same sentences, they get used interchangeably a lot, but they are 3 separate things. So we have jinxes, very low level. You accidentally cut someone off in traffic and they give you a rude gesture. There may be a little bit of intent behind it just because they didn't want to be cut off in traffic. That scared me. That was dangerous. Okay, if you collect a few of those, you might spill some coffee in your lap. Might ruin your day. It's okay. It's just very little low-level stuff. that going through regular magical protocols, like washing your spirit when you get home from work, cleansing yourself with Florida water or incense smoke or any of those things, will just brush off those things at the end of each day. Taking a shower and massaging some salt into your hair and scrubbing down your body. It's a great way to get rid of that nasty stuff. But hexes. A hex is when you call out to the universe and say, Mary Jo, Jim Bob, cut me off in traffic in person. I wrecked my car. I drove off the road. I have a broken arm, and I'm so mad. You better do something about this. Deity Bob. You're calling out from your person out to the universe and saying, whoever it is, Hecate, Ganesha, whoever, please handle this, or I'm gonna. So Hex is the universe is saying, hey, somebody handle my legwork. I got stuff to do. A curse is when you decide, I'm gonna handle it myself. They don't want that. You don't want this smoke. So we have 3 different levels and styles of projecting negativity onto another person. So they require 3 different levels of understanding of cleansing. So a jinx, you could just brush that right off with some salt and a good shower. Curses and hexes are going to depend on how emboldened, empowered, magically sound this person is. There is a poison here you can take if you think that you've been cursed. Curse threat assessment. So, have you had a run of bad luck? Yeah, that totally happened. Unexplained pain. My knee hurts, but I didn't trip and fall. I didn't wang it on anything. I have no recollection of any injury. But it's twingy, and there's no explanation for it. Perception of soul loss or soul theft. It just feels like something's missing. It's not just ennui, it's really feeling like a piece of you is missing. A perception of people talking about you, especially disembodied voices. If you're home alone and you can hear somebody talking smack, maybe that's an issue. Sudden clumsiness. You went from a fine human being to tripping over air. I was born tripping over air, so that's not on my list. But if this is new for you, check it off on the list. Feelings of someone standing on your chest or arms. I suffer from anxiety. I have panic attacks, so I can tell you that's one of the things that people talk about when they talk about anxiety is those feelings. Someone standing on my chest, someone standing on my arms. So that anxiety, if it's not regularly present, that anxiety could be a symptom of a curse or a hex. Okay? Feeling run down without cause. You've been getting regular sleep, you're eating right, you're getting all of your water, not just some, but you still feel run down. Okay? Okay, check mark over there. Nightmares, if they're out of the ordinary for you. Again, anything on our checklist, if it's run-of-the-mill stuff, does not go on the list. So if nightmares suddenly pop up, there's probably a reason why. We want to pay attention to that. And then feeling of being watched or followed. Okay? One of the most important things people note is they say, I keep waking up at 3 in the morning and I feel like somebody's watching me and it's just weird. And they will discount their experience themselves. Okay. Rather than talking yourself out of it, take a look, take some minutes, sit with yourself and feel, does this feel like a regular occurrence or does this feel like a targeted attack? Those are going to be 2 completely different things. So, now you have to grade your assessment. And honestly, when people talk about grading this assessment, I definitely want to stress to you that you are the only one who can grade this because you know how this feels. Okay? Somebody else is going to have great feelings and vibes and ideas and thoughts and feelings about this, but it's just like dream interpretation. If I dreamed that I owned a cat named Mittens and he snubbed me at the food bowl in the morning, I say to my best friend, oh, I don't know what this dream means. What does this dream mean? their offering of help is beautiful and wonderful and amazing, and I thank you. But if it doesn't vibe with what's going on in your heart, it's not the thing, because it's your dream built on your experiences and your language. How many people in here read tarot or do divination of any kind? Awesome, love it. How many people have seen a screenshot or a photo on Facebook of someone saying, can someone do this reading for me and just tell me what this means? I laid out some cards, but can you tell me what this means? You certainly can, and it's very kind of you to offer. But the most important part is they're the person who dealt the cards. They're the language that needs to be spoken. If my guides are giving me pictures, symbols, words, that language is meant for me. If my guides are speaking to me in French, my French is crap. They're going to have to pick a different language. Okay? Your spirits, your guides, your ancestors are going to know the language that you are speaking, and they're going to reach out in the language that you understand. What does that mean? I had an intuition class, and students were working on understanding travel. If we are going to travel in the next 6 months, you and I are going to go to a party in Ibiza. It'll be amazing. We don't tell anybody. We're just going to let them figure it out. So we have everyone paired up, and you're going to try and determine whether or not the person in front of you is going to go on a journey in the next 6 months. So I look at my partner, and I get a picture of the tip of my finger, a white and brown sign with a Jeep on it, and my friend Lacey. Would you understand what that reading meant? No, I barely did, and I was my brain. So I had to stop, and I'm looking at my friends that I'm reading for, and I'm like, they don't know Lacey. Lacey moved to New Michigan 10 years ago. Lacey's in Michigan. Michigan uses the hand as a map. So if they're going right here, they're going to here in Michigan, and it just so happens there's a state park right here in Michigan, hence the brown sign with the Jeep and the Lacey connection. So I say to her, oh, you're going to the state park that's right here in Michigan. And she says, how did you know my dad has a cabin in the woods on the edge of a state park in Michigan? So your knowledge, your experiences, your pop culture references are all part of your inborn language that you've developed until today. So when you get to your dream interpretation, the one that's the most important is yours. Okay? So we're grading our assessment. If you have 1 to 3 checks on your list, just a run of bad luck, it could be a minor jinx. Just go through a regular cleansing protocol and everything should shake out just fine. Make sure that when you're going through your regularly scheduled practice of cleansing and clearing and maintenance, that you keep it novel. You want to change it up as frequently as you can. If this month we're using mugwort smoke to cleanse the house, then next week I might use black salt. Not only are we varying it, just in case we have a friend that we have an argument with, we're on the outs at the moment, we want to make sure that we do something they're not expecting, but also if you have a spirit that's allergic to pink polka dot plant, and you're burning mugwort every month for a year, and the only thing that gets rid of this polka dot monster is pink polka dot plant, mugwort is doing nothing. By changing it up, you're keeping that energy fresh and clean and making sure that your home is as protected as you can make it. 4 to 6 checks. It's possible that you have a curse laid on you. It's very possible that this is something you need to look into, understand, check in, do a little deeper dive. It's not a regularly once a month cleansing. We're making sure that everything gets stirred up and cleared out as quickly as possible. 7 to 9 checks. We've moved up from jinx to curse. And if you have all 10 checked, this is the time to check in with a professional. You either A, are experiencing a mental health crisis, are have a genuine curse, hex, or jinx that is really causing a lot of issues, but it is definitely time to check in with someone who knows a little bit more about this than you. Your local witch will know who to talk to. You can talk to your favorite clergy member. You can talk to the people around you in your community. but don't feel like you have to do this alone. 10 things is a lot. By the time you realize and have admitted to yourself that it's 10 things, well, now you have the 11th thing, and everything is weighing down on you. So please make sure that you understand where you're going, how you're feeling, and what that's going to look like for you. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to be here to sign books. I'm going to be here to hear your stories and take selfies, whatever you guys want. I am so thankful that you came out today to talk about this and listen to me ramble about protection magic. The brand new book that just came out, Sacred Plant Magic, is available right here, of course. This is a familial sequel to our protection of botanical protection. Blackthorn's protection is here. I do know the names of my own books, I swear. Blackthorn's Botanical Magic is the precursor to Sacred Plant Magic, while Blackthorn's Botanical Magic talks about essential oils for ritual magic healing. Sacred Plant Magic gives you the opportunity to develop relationships with plant spirits as embodied individuals with their own agency. So I want to learn as much as I can from mugwort. How can I meet mugwort? We're going to talk about the differences between the overarching spirit of mugwort and the mugwort plant in my yard. We're going to learn how to develop those relationships and not just create spells and rituals for your own person, but friendships and lasting relationships with the spirits in your land and in your corner. I just want to say thank you again for being here and hanging out with us.
That door might be locked. That door might be locked. You unlock it.
Thank you so much.
It was a great job.
Thank you. Hi. Perfect. It's right here. Ah.
Hey guys, the audio log is over. Should I turn off the live?
So this is a seminar about protection.
Okay, no problem. Whenever. Okay.
Well, what was it? Like a free seminar? Or?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
Okay.
We'd rather the drink. That's how much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You want to sign?
I do. Thank you
And
so
then-
much.
Through that whole time, I was like putting questions in there. I was going to ask this after. And of course, now that we're here, I don't remember that.
That's okay. It takes a minute to sign a thing.
In the next few minutes,
Yes.
we'll come back.
Oh my lambda.
Oh my god. Oh, hey, TikTok.
Hi, it's Instagram. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we're ending now. Okay.